Hello, it's me. I definitely didn't start to stream and then screw it up and then start again. That definitely didn't happen. This is definitely a brand new stream, just starting. The problem was this. Man, it's so frustrating. Computers are bad. Computers suck. Adobe especially sucks. Adobe Premiere, when I run it, breaks my audio in certain applications. I just run it, and it just makes audio not work. And then I try to figure out what the settings it changes are and cannot find those settings, and so I have to reinstall my audio drivers, and then it works. However, after I do that, the audio drivers no longer work in OBS till I re-add them. So I just streamed for 5 minutes with no microphone. Cool. Anyway, all I was going to do is a relatively short little stream where we do some heat housekeeping, because we have a problem with heat, and that problem is as follows. Whoa, who clicked? Who's clicking? Who's clicking me? Heat's not turned on right now because I'm breaking something. One moment, please. Let's get, okay. Here's the issue. This overlay right here, let's point to the localhost one. Okay, to summarize. OBS, when you add a browser source, tries to be your buddy. And it tries to be your buddy by erasing the background. So it injects some CSS here, and this is what it does by default. It sets the background color to black transparent. And that's all well and good, sort of, except that it doesn't always work for certain kinds of backgrounds, like this gradient seemingly. It doesn't overwrite. And so any person just coming through the heat extension dashboard and trying to use all of our overlays, all of our example overlays, if they want to use an example overlay, it's not going to work in a very easy way. And so I like the gradient, but it's not worth, like making things difficult for people. So the easy answer is to just cut the gradient. So I think that's the first thing we're going to do, is just say on these particular demos that we've decided are feature demos, unless I can just explicitly, unless this works, basically. If I can do background color and do a background color linear gradient, if that works, that would be okay. Did that work? Is it as easy as that? That would be nice, because then we could still keep our gradient. So then our gradient still works here. Okay, it seemed like it worked. Let's undo it, save, refresh heat overlay. Not good. Explicitly say background color, refresh, it's good. Okay, well that makes my life easier. I'm pleased to hear that. And then can we heat around? Yes, we can heat around. Terrific. I'm nervous that something else isn't working now too. Does this work? Sounds terrific. Okay, so that was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. So also during the stream when no one could hear me, I decided, at least for the time being, to cut the 2 video examples because those aren't overlays. And I just feel like that's a little confusing. So we're going to keep it real simple and say like, hey, here's some example overlays. Knock yourself out. So heat is one of those. Next one would be markers, which is going to be bad, I think. Yeah, it's going to cover up the whole screen. So then I will take these lines of code and go to markers. And now refresh, and now we're good. And then next will be kiss. Isn't that what it's called? It's called kissing booth. And this. will be bad until we go into the kissing booth. And do the same thing. And then refresh this, and we're good. There's probably always going to be a little pop because it seems to take a moment to inject that CSS, but I'm not crazy about. Do you see it every time? Yeah, it kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. Wish there was a way to know, like, I kind of wish the, like, there's a way for me to know that I was in OBS, you know? Like, just do it myself in the code. But this is an improvement, so let's just go with that. Then there's the sequencer. Let's do the same thing. We have lots of redundant CSS, but that's okay. And I misspelled that. Does this work? Doesn't sound great. I think that's actually always true. Unfortunately, I think the sequencer just doesn't work very well as an overlay. I think something about the way the overlay works doesn't work so hot. Maybe if I don't know if the frame rate makes any difference. Like, just that seems maybe slightly better. Okay, so anyway, we fixed the problem, and then, of course, most importantly, the babby. And let me just do this, save this, refresh this. In fact, I should just be able to toggle it. Okay, I think we're all good. Did I actually test markers? I don't like the purple flash. I don't like it. It's annoying for anybody who wants to use this. I'm trying to think of an easy way around it, like how I could know. Like, I kind of wish that OBS did not display the browser source until it knew that the CSS had happened, or I don't know. Maybe that's crazy. I mean, because the issue is, another option is to have like some kind of onboarding experience to tell broadcasters, like give them something like copy this URL, and then we put something in the URL that we know, so we know one way or the other. Are there any other things while we're at it that we want to turn on? Demo's our weird demo overlay. Face isn't done. Hello is a test. Kissing booth, markers. Names. We didn't really do anything with names. We used Pixie for this, for which there was no real reason. Like, We could use almost our exact same code for the markers on this and then just give them a way to draw. Orbs is whatever. Paint is cool. Why aren't we showing paint? It's like, is paint not done or something? Why did we not use paint? Oh, excuse me. What other CSS does OBS inject? Margins. Okay, well, paint needs the thing, right? All these WebGL ones don't really work on macOS too, is another problem. I'm kind of into it though. I think we can add paint, right? Let's just throw paint in the main demo list. Hello, it's me. Okay, so that works. Let's push all this stuff. It's an improvement. There's still a purple pop, which is annoying. Like, because there are people that are just going to want to use that as is. Let's see. Okay, so those things, paint. Like, what would be probably helpful is to have some way to more explicitly say, like, hey, broadcaster, here's the URL you need to add to OBS to make this work. And then a way to close that, maybe. And then we could, inside that, put something that automatically hid the background or something. That's just a little clumsy. Don't quite know. What was I doing here? Nothing, just logging the user ID, I guess. The face demo, we never really figured out the names demo. So what I would like to do, yeah, it's just I'm a little torn on this, on like how tidy things need to be if other broadcasters are going to be using this. Because the popping sucks. I guess an alternative to that is to suggest different CSS. That was the wrong window to move over. Different CSS to put in OBS, but like the kind thing might be to have some kind of pop-up that tells you how to add it. How would I want to do that though? I don't know. Wait, why isn't that actually working on the overlay? Oh, there it is. Oh, because I'm in paint mode. That offset is weird. Wait, who's clicking me? Who is it? Who's secretly clicking? Can't even tell. The binary C? Is it you? Hard to tell who's actually watching since it's mostly bots. That looks cool. Like a weird cellular blob. Okay. I really don't like UX is just, I don't like it. I mean, it's fine. I want it to be good, but it's just not my favorite thing to think about. Mostly. I mostly just want to make things that are interesting to me. And that is not the same thing as making things that are functional for other people. Wait, Draklin, you're not in the list of people. Was that you? Are you undercover? I don't know how this like users and chat thing works. I think it's just a lie. It just lies to me. Okay, what's the thing here? So you start for that Twitch extensions panel. Like this thing. You go here, you configure here, You pick one of the overlays, and it doesn't really tell you what to do. Like, some little bug at the top or something could tell you. Like, how could I know what it would just be helpful if I could just know that I was in OBS or not, without having to tell somebody to put something different in the query string. Or have some handy little thing. Man, I don't know. Because right now it'll work. It's just that when people enable to know if in your OBS, maybe like the user agent says something funny. So I fixed the problem now where previously if people didn't know what they were doing, they would just have a big purple screen. So that should be improved. The issue now is that when you turn on a heat overlay, it pops. Well, I wonder if I could use the, Chrome Developer Tools in some cases has a way to connect to different places. I don't really remember how to do that. Like, there's a way to like plug in an Android phone and connect to it. I wonder if there's a way to look at other instances, but I still don't know if that's still the best way. Like, if this is really a UX problem, and the best way to do it is just to say, hey browser, hey broadcaster, add this URL as an OBS overlay, and then inside that URL I could just put whatever I wanted. You know, something to suppress the background or something, which would still be a delay. Oops. Just saw something. What was it? Remote debugging port. DevTools port 88. Okay, yeah. So I could do that. Something like that. I'm like weighing two options in my mind here. One is whether to make this a UX problem and just on the heat site say, hey, if you want to try this overlay, paste this URL, and then I can put whatever URL I want with whatever query string parameters, and we can key off of those. So that's one approach, is to say, like, add some steps, whatever. The other option is to say, let them, just assume that they'll know to, add this URL, even though there's really no instructions that say to do that. I don't like having users. I think that's the real summary here. I kind of prefer it if I'm the only user of the things I make. Or if I just come up with some way to figure it out myself. Which in some ways sounds more fragile, but because like maybe OBS sets some weird variables, maybe OBS sends some headers, maybe the user agent's different, like This must be not the thing though. Aha. I mean, is this what is actually included? Is this, I'm a little confused. Is this the one that is included or not included? OBS browser, seems like the one it is. Okay. So, like visibility change, stuff like this. That's kind of cool. I want to do some of this stuff for the bot, I think. Okay, so I don't want to restart OBS to turn on debugging, so how can we, what's an easy thing to do here? In hello. Okay, we've got that query. So if we do something like I need to document that body, right? Could also be, okay, see the word hello. Object. String. So is that all I get? Is plug in something? Okay. Or it's truncated. It's a little hard to tell what's actually coming out. Okay, but that's good news. So that seems like this exists. So I can do stuff. So I can know if I'm in OBS, basically, which is the whole goal here. So and we do get callbacks and fun stuff. So we can get status. Is that really all we can do? We can get the current scene, we can get the status. But we kind of just want to say, like, if we're in OBS at all, don't mess with the background, right? Like, if we're in OBS, let the background not exist. Now the problem, I think, is going to be similar. Like, we're going to have a similar issue here. Which is going to be a little annoying, but I think I know how to handle it. I don't like it. I don't like the solution I have in my brain, but... Okay, so I see it pop and then I set it here. So the thing that I would do is something dumb. I don't love this, but it is... Basically, we would say something like if... We would do this, essentially. We would say if we're not if we're not in OBS, then add a class called demo to body, and then we can do whatever we need to do in that. I think that's the thing I would do here. And we'll just add this to this heat library, because I think we're using this heat library on all the stuff that we actually care about. So let's go through these. Once again. So we'd essentially do that. So if we ran it here, that's wrong. It's going to come up white, and then that'll get added. The background will get added after the fact. So that if we do that, you couldn't see any of that, could you? So now we can turn on, it still popped. Why did it pop? That's heat map. Refresh current. OBS Studio should exist. Okay, so I can now toggle this. I keep saying that, oh, I can now toggle this without it flashing, but sometimes it flashes. Very inconsistent. And my bitrate just tanked for some reason. Why was that? And it looks like it's flashing black, which is extra weird. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes it's black, but I don't think that's the normal, like, you could try to add that stuff here, but I don't think that's really gonna make a difference. Just sometimes it happens. It's better. It's not every single time now, but that's unfortunate because that seems like it's the browser is not rendering. It's almost like OBS should be waiting for some different callback. It's kind of not cool. So let's stick these in the other demos. And this still, we do get a color here, right? Yeah. So we need in markers and kiss and sequence and baby and paint. Okay. Markers and sequence. And baby. And paint. Oh no. Okay, so all of these should have purple backgrounds. Well, weirdly, that breaks the gradient. Maybe we have to not. Maybe you can't do background color. I didn't even realize that before, but maybe has our gradient been broken this whole time? I didn't notice. Maybe we have to have a background there. But that's fine, because now we know. I could definitely put this all... Did I not do the kisses? Goodness gracious. Okay, one more time. Okay, is Heat happy now? Why is my linear gradient lost? What? Oh, good grief. Good gravy. I'm not looking at the right place. What is it? Is that right? Where am I? Oh, it's 80/80. Of course, of course. Okay. We got our gradient back. Loads without it, but then it comes in. It's all good. We got paint. Okay, great. So let's go back through these one more time. Markers is bad. Guess linear gradient has to be a background, not a background color. We'll live and learn. Kisses. Markers is good. Yeah. Sequence. sound great in there either. The baddie? Okay. And then paint. Last of all. Yeah, I already edited paint. Paint's so cool. Okay, so now they will at least not flash colors. In the future, we could do some interesting things because we'll know what's up with the OBS browser plugin, which makes me want to add stuff to BotMade this right now because I think it's cool. I don't even know what I want to add, but it's just cool to be able to know what's going on. Okay, does all of that stuff work over here now? Let's push it all. I shouldn't call that demo. Maybe I should call it not OBS. Or like OBS or not OBS. Okay, so let's try the heat map. Oh, that's annoying. Now it's like flashing every time. Maybe because it's remote and it was a little faster when it wasn't. Does the bot do that? Toggling the bot on and off does not do that. I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay, I know what it is. Give me a minute to think about it. That sucks, but I know what it is. Man. Blame. It's not CSS, it's Pixie. I almost guarantee it because I bet Sequence doesn't do it. I bet Markers doesn't do it. Yeah. So the issue is momentarily Pixie is black, is rendering black, and because how do we do this? We like make a shader. I'm sorry, we make a Pixie instance. I was looking at a shader when I said that. We make a Pixie instance, and then add it here. When really I want to like wait until there's a callback to say that it's actually ready. Speaking of Pixie, when is Pixie 5 coming out? Is it out? No. Okay, so I don't know if the thing I want exists. Like if there's some callback that says, hey, we're good. So what are we doing? We're doing a pixie.application. Because we're starting with transparent true. Should we start with the color? The default is black, so that's what we're seeing, which is annoying because transparent is set to true. But like, I think we're like seeing some render buffer before, because actually we're using render textures. So we've added something here before we've drawn to it. So maybe it's actually, we're seeing the render texture there. I wish we could see the same behavior here. Make it a little easier to debug, but you can see it sometimes. You see it pop black. So that could be not pixie. It could be the render texture. Which is pretty weird because like normally when you make a render texture, you don't know what's in it until you draw something to it. Like I guess I haven't seen this in a while, but I feel like there used to be cases where you'd be like, hey, give me a render texture, and the GPU would be like, here you go, and it could just already have stuff in it. And it would be like, oh, that's weird. I just got to see part of a window. I think things are more secure in the web browser, so you can't like write something that will steal from somebody's video memory. I might be misremembering that, but something like that used to happen. So that thing does have a shader. Well, that's kind of annoying. Excuse me, but I don't know that I care enough about any of these demos to really do something about it. Like, sequence is all HTML, and markers is HTML, so it won't happen there. Kiss is pixie, but it doesn't really need to be. Not really a reason to do that is pixie. But, and in fact, Kiss may not have the same problem because I don't think we are doing render texture stuff. So let's try Kiss. I mean kissing booth. Yeah. So actually, Pixie's fine, except for the fact that it doesn't work as an overlay in macOS. So some of these demos, I mean, Heat and Kiss, and Babby and Paint will not work. Paint probably also pops black. Maybe not. Is it really just heat map? I mean, I am doing something weird in heat map where we're like drawing. We're using like a camera to draw to use as a displacement map, and maybe the first time you draw, you see black. Pretty consistently. So maybe we can just fix it in that one place. If I can wrap my head around exactly what the problem is. Because we've got a shader up here that just takes both of them and then just tints with a gradient. So it could be that that gradient texture isn't loaded yet. Could be a couple things. Could be that the gradient's not loaded yet. It could be that we're trying to draw it before it's like been drawn to once. I kind of think it's the gradient not being loaded. So maybe if we could just like wait for that to start drawing. Because I think this might have a callback. I might be wrong also. Well, is that not true? Why don't you link me to issue number 3068, dude? Texture ID should not be undefined. So can I check the texture ID? We don't do that though, we just use the gradient. It says it extends event emitter, but does not seem to emit events. Loader. Loader instance to help with asset loading. Pixie loaders. Something like this. Oops. That can't be const. So is that going to be... What's actually going to be there? Is it going to be a texture? Is it going to be a thing? Not very explicit. Base texture has loaded. Like, what is this? Is this the texture? Like, what do I get back? Kind of looks like it comes back as a texture. I don't know. Looks broken. Pixie.loader. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. This doesn't seem right. Like, can I get from this? I don't really seem right either. Seems like that should be correct. Kinda. But is the issue here that at that point the uniforms are wrong? Like it's not... like that this actually needs to happen here? That's just tremendously broken. Resources, image one, texture. Loader.resources and the incomplete. Just feels not good. A loader example here? This is an annoying problem. think that's what I tried to do. It didn't work. And that appears to already be a texture. So I don't really understand why I can't then hand it to my shader. No errors happening, just doesn't. It's just never happening? I had to like tell the loader to start. Did I miss that? Well, loader.load. Seems like this should happen. Alright, I made it in here. And then I have a thing called gradient. Oh, well, this is no. That's actually my fault. In this case, I want resources.gradient. But it's like it's not. How did I break this so badly? Like some of the stuff I don't really even want to do until after that's loaded. Like I want to wait until this may all be, I might be just on the wrong track here. Also, another possibility. Could be all wrong. This texture. I mean, I kind of don't even want to tick until that happens. I feel like some secondary initialize function. Let's do this in a crazy way for now, and then clean it up. I ended up in this scenario. Look, this is all wrong. It's all wrong, all wrong, all wrong. Take a step back. Okay, back to a thing that worked. The loader just seemingly was not cool. At least in the way I was using it. Ah, did the roofers arrive? Mm-hmm. Once everything is loaded, this happens. But it seemed very broken. I don't know if I want to tackle this today or if it really matters that much. Like, kind of just want to call it a known bug at this moment. I just don't really want to get deep into Pixie. Maybe I'll just change the way the whole... and I don't even know if that's actually the problem. I think it's the problem. Like if I toggle this, I just have a moment, and I think that what that moment is waiting for the gradient to load. Why did my... Man, I would like to fix that. Now it annoys me that I just can't give like a callback right here. Well, somebody's working on something. This looks old. Somebody's doing the thing where they vacuum by just smashing the vacuum against the wall. Maybe this means the roofers are done forever. I doubt it. Maybe. This is kind of what we had. That seems like a texture. Is it any different than what we had previously? Doesn't really seem like it. How do I get the latest documentation? Pixie. Oh no. Let's try one more time. I mean, none of this is really different, but maybe I just did something weird. Okay. We're gonna do the thing. We're gonna load the gradient. And then we're gonna say loader.load. And inside here, we should have our gradient. And so instead of doing this, we will do let gradient texture, and inside here we will do equals resources dot gradient dot texture. Everything's broken. Because I have a typo. So this just like doesn't work. What if I, and then this didn't really work, right? Like this was not happy. Like this doesn't make any sense to me. Why would this be the case? This makes it seem like that didn't load properly or something. Oops. I pushed the wrong button. I just wanted to clear it, not delete it. It grabs. It gets the sprite. It's just like it doesn't get to the shader, right? It's like that's, it's like this is not true. We render the sprites through the shader, and then if it's not, if like we sample the gradient and if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. Like it's not, this is just red, for example. Should just all be red. Oops, I mean vec for okay, yeah. It's like the shader, it's like that texture is not happening in the way that it's supposed to happen. You know, like it's the loader with the texture. I mean, assuming we're getting in here. Get in there. Wait, why did it work that time? Why did it work that one time? What? What? Just weird that the examples don't show any that are just like, hey, a texture, like. Wait, do I need to do something with that texture after the fact? It's pretty weird. Wait, I saw Pixie texture loader. What was that? Why is deprecated? Does this work? Or is that just used like behind the scenes by loader? Can I like say, hey dude? No, I had high hopes for that one. No? It seemed like it was gonna work. It seemed smart. This sucks. Try something like this, like and then in here set the base texture. I don't know. I'm just guessing at this point. I'm broken. That sucks. Really cool if this huge promises. I need a sprite, but I want a sprite. There's some hidden black magic here. Feels like. And I'm about ready to call it a day. Not what I want. I just want the texture to use the shader. Seems like it should not be this complicated. So either I'm missing something, which is super duper possible, or it's just like a little bit half-baked. Because it seems different when I use the loader in the same code. It doesn't work. And even if I try to poke at it and make it load. Now, maybe I could stick this in a sprite and use that in some way. I don't know. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I think I'm done for the day. We tidied some things up. There's a new source tree update. How exciting. Very exciting. So Heat should be a little friendlier, at least to new users. It won't just show a purple screen, which is not friendly at all. And it won't pop purple. Now the heat map will pop black, but I'm gonna call that relatively minor because it's only in that one and Seems like there's just a Pixie problem that I just don't quite know the solution to at this point. Because, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't use Pixie at all for WebGL stuff on macOS. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to go in a little while to PNCA for a metal engraving on the Laser Cutter Workshop and try to stream some of that, and we will see how that goes. So have a lovely evening, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.